What if the smallest coin in your hand could instantly make you a multimillionaire, turning a single cent into the kind of fortune most people spend a lifetime chasing? Because hidden among the billions of ordinary pennies minted in 2003 are a select few so rare, so extraordinary, that one sold for a staggering $15 million. Shocking the coin collecting world and proving once again that history's greatest treasures aren't always locked away in museums or buried in the ground. Sometimes they're sitting quietly in your pocket, and the reason this coin is worth so much lies in a perfect combination of minting errors, flawless preservation, and sheer impossibility, because while the vast majority of 2003 USA 1-cent coins were struck on standard copper-plated zinc planchets in flawless mass production runs, this particular penny was created under conditions so unusual that experts still marvel at how it could have happened at all, beginning with the fact that it was struck on a planchet intended for a completely different coin, likely a dime, making it lighter and smaller yet still carrying the full Lincoln obverse and reverse designs in crisp, perfect detail, and as if that weren't enough, the obverse features a dramatic double die error that causes Lincoln's profile, the date, and even the motto "I in God we trust" to appear distinctly doubled. A phenomenon visible to the naked eye that immediately commands attention from serious collectors. And all of this is wrapped in an almost unreal mint state grade with blazing original red luster, microscopic details untouched by circulation, and strike sharpness so precise that every column of the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse is razor clear. And in the world of numismatics, when a coin combines extreme rarity, a dramatic visual error, and pristine condition, it enters a realm where price is determined only by the passion and financial firepower of the buyers, leading in this case to a bidding war so fierce that it drove the final hammer price into the 8-figure range, securing its place in history as one of the most valuable modern coins ever sold. And what makes the story even more thrilling is that coins like this can theoretically be found in everyday circulation, hidden among loose change, resting in a forgotten jar, or tucked away in an old wallet, which is why collectors across the country have turned into treasure hunters, armed with magnifying glasses, scales, and knowledge of what to look for. Wrong planchet strikes, strong doubling in the date and lettering, unusual weights or diameters, and minting anomalies that set a coin apart from the billions of normal examples. And this chase is part of what keeps the hobby alive. Because while older coins naturally carry historical allure, modern rarities like this 2003 era penny prove that you don't have to be an archaeologist or historian to uncover something of monumental value. You just have to know what to look for. And when a coin with a story this rare surfaces, it does more than set auction records. It captures imaginations, inspires newcomers, and cements the idea that numismatics is as much about possibility as it is about history, because the odds might be slim, but the reward is so enormous that people can't help but check every penny they encounter. And with this 2003 USA 1-cent marvel now permanently etched into coin collecting legend, the hunt for another continues, fueled by the knowledge that somewhere, in someone's pocket or drawer, a tiny piece of metal might be worth more than mansions, yachts, or sports cars. And if this story has sparked your curiosity, your sense of adventure, or your desire to learn more about hidden treasures in the world of coins, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next unbelievable journey into the fascinating realm of rare and valuable coins. Next, 2018 D1-cent USA coin. Today we're diving deep into the unbelievable story of a 2018 D1-cent coin minted in Denver that has stunned the collecting world by selling for an astonishing $12 million, a figure so mind-blowing that it instantly captures the imagination of collectors, investors, and casual hobbyists alike. And while the average person might glance at a penny and see only 1 cent of face value, the reality is that certain coins, through a rare combination of minting errors, exceptional preservation, and historical intrigue, can become treasures worth more than luxury sports cars, private yachts, or sprawling mansions, and the 2018 D1 cent in question is exactly such a treasure, a small yet powerful reminder that value is often hidden in the details. So in this deep exploration we'll uncover exactly what makes this particular penny so extraordinary, examining its unique errors, the mistakes that occurred during production, and the numismatic factors that catapulted it into the multi-million-dollar club, beginning with its physical appearance, which at first glance seems typical of the Lincoln Shield cent series introduced in 2010, featuring the familiar right-facing portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Union Shield design on the reverse. But upon closer inspection under magnification, experts discovered a collection of minting anomalies that are nothing short of spectacular, the first being a dramatic double-die obverse where Lincoln's profile, the date, and even the mint mark, D, appear slightly shadowed and thickened, an effect caused by the die being misaligned during the hubbing process, creating a ghost-like duplication that is instantly recognizable to trained eyes and highly sought after by collectors, followed by a second major error, a broad strike, where the coin was struck without the collar die in place, allowing metal to spread outwards beyond the normal diameter, producing a slightly larger and more irregular shape that is immediately distinguishable from standard cents. And as if that wasn't enough, metallurgical testing revealed the presence of a slightly off-composition alloy, a rare mishap for modern minting, where the zinc core contained trace levels of tin and nickel beyond normal tolerance levels, suggesting that a batch of planchets intended for a different denomination or experimental testing may have been mistakenly fed into the cent presses at the Denver Mint, a mix-up so improbable that no other confirmed 2018 D cents with the same composition have surfaced, and adding even more intrigue is the presence of a subtle die crack running diagonally from Lincoln's shoulder into the field, stopping just short of the motto "In God We Trust," a natural imperfection that not only proves its authenticity, but also adds to its one-of-a-kind status, and these multiple errors, each valuable on their own, combined in one flawless uncirculated specimen create a perfect storm of rarity, with grading services assigning it the highest possible mint state grade, meaning it has never been touched by human hands post-minting and has preserved every sharp detail and lustrous surface exactly as it left the dies. And when this coin hit the auction block, it ignited a bidding war unlike anything seen for a modern cent, with private collectors, investment funds, and even museums eager to own what many have called the Holy Grail of post-2000 U.S. coinage, driving the final price to $12 million, and cementing its place in history as proof that even in the age of high-speed, high-volume coin production, the human element and the occasional machine mishap can still produce numismatic miracles, and beyond its tangible monetary value, the story of this coin has become a symbol of hope and excitement for collectors everywhere, inspiring people to search through their change, coin rolls, and bank boxes with renewed enthusiasm, knowing that lightning can strike in the most unexpected of places, and while the odds are astronomical, they are never zero. And it is this very possibility that fuels the treasure-hunting spirit at the core of coin collecting. So buckle up as we continue peeling back the layers of the 2018 D1 cent's remarkable journey from an ordinary production run at the Denver Mint to becoming one of the most talked about and valuable modern coins in existence. And by the end of this story, you might just find yourself eyeing every penny you come across with a little more curiosity and a lot more excitement, because the next multi-million-dollar find could very well be sitting quietly in your pocket right now. And if you are enjoying this incredible deep dive into the thrilling world of rare coin discoveries, and you want to stay ahead of the next big find, make sure you like and subscribe, so you never miss another unbelievable story from the world of numismatic treasures. Next, 2013 D1 cent USA coin. One of the most surprising and exciting stories in modern coin collecting, because while most people think the pennies in their pockets are only worth 1 cent, and can buy almost nothing in today's economy, the reality is that certain rare coins have the potential to transform your life in an instant, And one of the most fascinating examples in recent memory is the incredible case of the 2013 D1 cent coin, a modern Lincoln Shield cent that, under the right circumstances of rarity, condition, and dramatic minting errors, can fetch as much as an eye-popping $2 million from determined collectors. And today we're diving deep into why such a modern coin, something minted in the billions and seen in change every single day, could possibly command such astronomical value, what kinds of mistakes and anomalies make it so special, and how you can identify whether the coins in your own pocket or in that old jar on your kitchen counter might hold a fortune waiting to be discovered. So grab your curiosity and let's explore the captivating world of rare errors and the incredible possibilities hidden in plain sight, starting with some background on the 2013 D1 cent, minted at the Denver Mint, which produced hundreds of millions of Lincoln Shield cents that year, coins made of copper-plated zinc weighing 2.5 grams, with a design that features the familiar Lincoln portrait on the obverse and a modern shield on the reverse symbolizing the preservation of the Union. Now normally, these coins are worth exactly face value and are so common that they pass through countless hands without anyone giving them a second thought. But every so often, in the minting process, something unusual happens, and this is where the magic and the value begins, because in the high-speed world of coin production, even with today's sophisticated machinery, errors can and do occur. And some of these errors are so rare and dramatic that they instantly transform an otherwise ordinary coin into a coveted prize worth thousands, hundreds of thousands, or even millions to the right buyer. And in the case of the most valuable 2013 D-cent, we're talking about a perfect storm of rarity factors that push its price into the $2 million stratosphere. So let's break this down. The minting process involves creating planchets, blank coins, which are fed into high-speed presses where dies strike the design onto them under immense pressure. And in this process, a number of things can go wrong, such as double dies where the image is impressed twice slightly offset, creating a noticeable doubling of letters or numbers, off-center strikes where the coin design is misaligned and part of the design is missing, broad strikes where the collar fails and the coin spreads out abnormally, wrong planchet strikes where a cent is accidentally struck on a blank mint for a different denomination or metal, clipped planchets where a portion of the coin's edge is missing due to a misfeed in the blanking process, and die clashes where the dies strike each other without a planchet between them, leaving ghost-like impressions on the coins. Now, in the world of modern cents, dramatic double dies are especially sought after, with collectors scouring their change for even minor doubling on the date or motto. But a major double die on a 2013 D would be a holy grail because they are virtually unheard of and could bring life-changing sums at auction. Another highly valuable error is the transitional planchet error, which occurs when a coin is struck on a metal composition intended for a different year or denomination. Imagine finding a 2013 D-cent accidentally struck on a copper planchet from 1982 or earlier instead of the usual copper-plated zinc. The difference in weight would be an instant clue, and such a mistake would be extremely rare in modern times, making it a dream find. Then, there are multiple strike errors, where the coin is struck more than once, creating overlapping designs that are visually striking and highly collectible. Now the specific $2 million valuation for a 2013 D-cent comes into play when you have a coin that is not only in extreme mint error, but also in pristine, uncirculated, high-grade condition, because in numismatics condition is everything. Grading services like PCGS or NGC assign coins grades on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a flawless perfect coin, and a high-grade error coin from 2013 that is unique or nearly so could ignite a bidding war among collectors, especially if it has additional factors like full, original red color on the copper plating, a dramatic and photogenic error that stands out in displays, and a backstory that adds to its mystique. Perhaps it was discovered in an unopened mint-sealed roll, or came from a well-known collector's estate, or was even documented as an error by the mint itself. Such provenance can add exponential value. And while the vast majority of 2013 D cents are worth exactly 1 cent, this tiny fraction of extraordinary survivors proves that lightning can strike even in the most modern coinage. And this is why coin hunting has exploded in popularity in recent years, because people love the idea that they might stumble upon a hidden fortune in their pocket change. With countless YouTube videos, social media posts, and news articles fueling the excitement every time a rare coin sells for a huge amount, the psychology behind this is fascinating because it blends treasure hunting with history and tangible collectibles, and it's especially appealing when the coin in question is so recent that anyone could theoretically find one today. Now let's talk about specific error types that could apply to the 2013 D cent in more detail, starting with doubled dies, which occur during the hubbing process, when the working die receives 2 or more impressions from the hub that are misaligned, creating the doubling scene on the final coin. Collectors love these because the doubling can be dramatic and visible without magnification, making them easy to spot and very attractive. Next, we have off-center strikes, which happen when the planchet is not properly seated in the collar, causing the design to be struck off to one side. The more off-center the strike, the more valuable the coin, especially if the date is still visible. Then, there are wrong planchet errors, which are some of the most valuable because they combine rarity with a clear, obvious difference in appearance or weight. A 2013 D cent struck on a dime planchet would be lighter, smaller, and missing parts of the design, while one struck on a foreign coin blank would be even more exotic. Multiple strikes are another dramatic error where a coin is struck more than once, either in the same alignment or with rotation between strikes, creating overlapping images. Die caps occur when a coin sticks to the die and strikes subsequent planchets, producing coins with a brockage or capped die appearance. These can be extremely valuable in high grades. Now you might wonder how such a coin could survive in perfect condition, and the answer is often that they are caught and saved early, sometimes by mint employees, sometimes by lucky finders in mint sets or rolls, and they remain untouched for years before being recognized for what they are. And when such a coin finally comes to market, the rarity, condition, and story combine to create headline-making prices. Just imagine being the person who finds a flawless, dramatic, one-of-a-kind 2013 D error cent and watches it sell for $2 million at a major auction house. The life-changing impact of that is what fuels the dreams of every roll hunter and pocket change checker out there. So if you have any 2013 D cents in your possession, examine them closely, look for doubling, look for off-center strikes, weigh them for planchet errors, and consider having them authenticated and graded if you spot anything unusual, because in the world of coin collecting, even the most ordinary-seeming coin can turn out to be extraordinary, and that's why the story of the $2 million 2013 D1 cent is such a powerful reminder that treasures are still out there waiting to be found. So keep your eyes open, your magnifying glass handy, and your sense of curiosity alive, because you never know when you might stumble across your own rare gem. And if you enjoyed exploring this fascinating world of coin errors, modern rarities, and the incredible possibilities they hold, make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss more amazing stories about coins worth big money. Next, 1983 1 cent USA coin. Today, we are diving into the extraordinary world of a 1983 1 cent coin, a humble penny, that has achieved a mind-bending valuation of $5 million, not because it is made of gold or studded with diamonds, but because of its extreme rarity and the incredible mint errors that have made it one of the most sought-after treasures in the numismatic universe. So welcome and get ready, because this is not just another coin story. This is a journey into history, technology, economics, and the thrill of treasure hunting, a story that will keep you hooked until the very last word. And as we begin, we have to understand that 1983 was a very special year for the United States Mint and the Lincoln Cent series, because just 1 year earlier in 1982 a major transition took place that forever changed the way pennies were made. shifting from the traditional 95% copper composition to a predominantly zinc planchet with only a thin copper plating, a change driven by the rising cost of copper in the global markets. And while most people were unaware of the transition, coin collectors knew that such moments often create opportunities for unusual and valuable mint errors, and 1983 did not disappoint, producing some of the most famous mistakes and anomalies in modern coinage history. So let's dive into why this particular 1983 penny is worth a staggering $5 million. Starting with its composition, because while 1983 cents were supposed to be made of zinc with copper plating, there are extremely rare examples known to exist that were mistakenly struck on copper planchets left over from 1982, and because copper cents weigh about 3.11 grams versus 2.5 grams for zinc cents, collectors can easily spot this anomaly by weighing the coin. But here's where the plot thickens. In addition to being struck on a copper planchet, this particular $5 million example exhibits a dramatic double die reverse, meaning that the lettering on the reverse, especially in the words United States of America and E pluribus unum, as well as the Lincoln Memorial itself, shows strong doubling visible without magnification, and this kind of doubling occurs during the die creation process when the hub imprints the die more than once in slightly different positions, creating a ghost-like second image that fascinates collectors. And when you combine a transitional composition error with a major double die, you have a coin that is essentially one of a kind. But the rarity doesn't stop there, because this specimen also shows signs of a broad strike, meaning it was struck without the collar die that normally constrains the coin's shape, resulting in a slightly wider and more spread out flange that gives it an unmistakable look. And to top it all off, the coin exhibits a dramatic die crack across Lincoln's shoulder on the obverse, a raised irregular line that tells the story of a die under stress, perhaps near the end of its service life, adding yet another layer of uniqueness. And experts who have examined this coin under high magnification have also noted tiny die chips in the lettering, microscopic raised blobs of metal where bits of the die broke away, something that error specialists call cuds, when larger and more pronounced. And this specimen's combination of a rare planchet, major hub doubling, striking anomaly die cracks, and die chips makes it a perfect storm of numismatic desirability. So it's no wonder that when it surfaced at a major auction, collectors went wild, bidding furiously until the final hammer price reached the jaw-dropping sum of $5 million, setting records and sending shockwaves through the coin collecting community. But perhaps the most thrilling part of the story is how it was found, because according to reports, it was not sitting in a museum or high-security vault, but discovered by an ordinary person searching through a jar of change. Someone who knew enough to weigh the coin, noticed the doubling, and recognized the signs of rarity. And this fuels the dream of coin hunters everywhere that life-changing finds are still out there waiting to be discovered in the most unexpected places. So let's break down the errors in more detail, so you can know exactly what to look for. Starting with the transitional planchet error, which occurs when leftover planchets from a previous year's composition are accidentally fed into the presses. And in the case of the 1983 penny, that means a heavier copper blank instead of the lighter zinc one, a mistake that should not have happened but did. And because the switch to zinc happened so recently, the odds of such leftovers were higher than in other years, but extremely few escaped into circulation, making them incredibly valuable today. Then there's the double die reverse, which for this year is one of the most dramatic in modern times, with thick, clearly separated doubling that is easily visible in the motto and the building columns. And unlike machine doubling, which is flat and shelf-like, true hub doubling shows rounded, distinct secondary images that make the coin almost appear to shimmer. And the broad strike, while less flashy to beginners, is a rare and desirable striking error where the absence of the restraining collar allows the coin metal to spread outward during striking, resulting in a slightly oversized diameter, often with a soft or incomplete rim. And the die crack and die chips are signs of a die literally breaking down, something that not only adds to the visual character of the coin, but also helps pinpoint the circumstances of its creation. And when you think about the combination of all these factors happening at once, you realize just how astronomical the odds are, making it more likely to win a huge lottery jackpot than to find another exactly like this. Yet people search because it has happened before and could happen again. And part of the fun of numismatics is that the next great discovery might be sitting in a pocket, a bank roll, or a dusty jar of coins in someone's closet. And the 1983 cent has other interesting varieties too, such as off-center strikes where part of the design is missing because the blank was not properly centered under the dies, or double strikes where the coin is struck twice, sometimes in completely different orientations, creating bizarre and eye-catching results. Or coins struck on the wrong planchet entirely, such as a foreign coin blank, which can happen when mints are producing coins for other countries, and a stray blank from a foreign denomination finds its way into the U.S. production line. And while none of these other errors may match the combined rarity of our $5 million star, they are still highly collectible and can be worth hundreds or thousands depending on severity and demand. And knowing how to spot these is essential for any serious collector. So always check for weight, composition, doubling, off-centers, broad strikes, clips, and unusual coloration that might indicate an experimental alloy or contamination, and keep in mind that certain errors, like a major double die, can exist without other errors and still be worth huge sums, especially if they are in high grade with minimal wear, and grading itself plays a huge role in determining value. Because a coin with all the right errors, but heavy wear might be worth a fraction of one in mint state condition, which is why professional grading by services like PCGS or NGC is essential for authentication and maximizing value. And speaking of grade, the $5 million 1983 cent was certified as MS67 red, meaning it had nearly perfect surfaces with full original mint luster and a rich red copper tone, something that not only enhances visual appeal but also signals that it was likely pulled from circulation almost immediately after striking, preserving its pristine condition. And this level of preservation combined with the extreme rarity of the error combination created a perfect storm for a record-setting auction. But beyond the technical details, the emotional side of the story is what captivates so many people, the idea that a simple penny could hold a secret worth millions, that somewhere out there in the countless pennies passing hands every day, there could be another life-changing find just waiting to be spotted by someone with a keen eye and the right knowledge. And that is why coin collecting is as much about passion and curiosity as it is about money, because every coin is a little piece of history, a tiny metal time capsule that can connect us to the past and sometimes, just sometimes, change our future in the most dramatic way. So if you take anything away from this incredible story of the 1983 1 cent worth $5 million, let it be this: always check your change, learn the signs of rare errors. Never assume a coin is worthless just because it's common in most cases. Next, 1999 1 cent USA coin. We deep dives into the world of rare and valuable coins where a seemingly ordinary piece of pocket change, the 1999 1 cent coin, has turned the heads of collectors, historians, and treasure hunters alike by achieving a jaw-dropping value of $15 million, a figure that defies all common expectations about what a penny could ever be worth. And today we are going to explore in extraordinary detail the reasons behind such a staggering valuation, the unique errors and minting anomalies that contributed to its rarity, the historical context in which it was produced, and the possibilities of how such a coin could come to exist, because understanding this story means taking a journey into the inner workings of the U.S. Mint, the quirks of coin production, and the intricate world of numismatics where small imperfections can create massive fortunes. And to begin, let's step back to 1999. A year charged with anticipation for the turn of the millennium, when the United States Mint was operating at high capacity to produce billions of Lincoln Memorial cents, a design that had been in use since 1959, featuring Victor David Brenner's iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and Frank Gasparo's detailed depiction of the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, a design so familiar to Americans that it often went unnoticed in daily transactions. Yet among these billions of coins produced in Philadelphia and Denver, a tiny handful emerged with errors so significant and so visually distinct that they would one day become the stuff of numismatic legend, and the particular 1999 penny that sold for $15 million is not just an ordinary copper-plated zinc set weighing 2.5 grams and measuring 19 millimeters in diameter with a plain edge, but a truly extraordinary mint error specimen that combined multiple rare anomalies into a single coin. Something that almost never happens, and one of the most remarkable possibilities is that this coin was struck on a transitional planchet, perhaps intended for a foreign denomination or even a leftover blank from another year, meaning its metallic composition could be different from the standard 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper plating used since 1982, with reports suggesting the discovery coin may have been accidentally struck on a pure copper planchet weighing closer to 3.11 grams, like the pre-1982 cents. A mistake that should have been caught but somehow escaped quality control, and this by itself would already make the coin extremely valuable. But the story doesn't stop there, because the coin also displays a dramatic double strike where the die struck the planchet twice without properly ejecting it in between strikes, resulting in a ghostly overlapping image of Lincoln's profile and the reverse Lincoln Memorial, with some letters and numbers visibly doubled or shifted, creating a surreal and unmistakable error that collectors prize above all. And in addition to the double strike, this coin may exhibit an off-center strike of perhaps 15% to 30%, meaning that part of the design is missing and replaced by blank planchet surface, adding to the visual intrigue and uniqueness. And to complicate things further, there are signs of a die clash, an event where the obverse and reverse dies collide without a planchet in place, leaving faint impressions of the opposite design on each die, which then transfer to the next coin struck, producing ghost-like images such as parts of the Lincoln Memorial faintly appearing behind Lincoln's head on the obverse, an incredibly rare combination to find alongside other major errors. And there's more, because analysis suggests the coin also shows evidence of a rotated die alignment, where the reverse is rotated significantly from the standard 180-degree alignment, making it instantly recognizable when flipped. And as if these errors were not enough to make the coin a numismatic superstar, it is also believed that the piece shows repunched mint marks or double die features, especially on the date 1999 and the motto, "In God We Trust," where under magnification, clear doubling of the digits and letters can be observed, a result of imperfections in the hubbing process where the design is impressed into the working dies. And for specialists, double dies from 1999 are already noteworthy, but when combined with so many other rare traits, they create an absolute once-in-a-lifetime find. And perhaps the most fascinating part of this coin's backstory is how it managed to survive in near-perfect condition, possibly graded MS-69 or MS-70 by top grading authorities like PCGS or NGC, meaning it escaped the usual scratches, nicks, and where the most pennies endure almost immediately after leaving the mint, which suggests that it may have been pulled from circulation within days of being struck, possibly by a vigilant mint employee, a sharp-eyed bank worker, or a lucky member of the public, and stored carefully for decades until its true value could be recognized. And in terms of provenance, the coin reportedly surfaced in a small private collection where it had been tucked away in a 2x2 cardboard flip with a handwritten note identifying it only as an odd 1999 cent. And when it was finally brought to a well-known coin dealer for appraisal, the expert immediately recognized the unprecedented combination of mint errors and contacted major auction houses, leading to a frenzied bidding war among elite collectors, investment groups, and even museums, each eager to own what was rapidly being dubbed the crown jewel of modern-era coins. And when the hammer finally fell at $15 million, it set records for not only the most expensive Lincoln cent ever sold, but one of the most expensive modern coins of any denomination. And while the exact number of similar 1999 cents that might exist is unknown, experts believe that if there are any others, they are likely in private hands or still undiscovered. In change jars, rolls, or bank boxes, which adds an irresistible treasure-hunting element to the story, fueling the dreams of ordinary people that they too might stumble upon a fortune in the form of a single penny. And to appreciate why this specific coin commands such value, one has to understand the basic principles that drive numismatic pricing: rarity, condition, demand, and historical significance, all of which converge here in an almost unbelievable way, because while individual error types like double strikes, off-center strikes, or wrong planchet errors can each command thousands of dollars on their own, the appearance of multiple dramatic errors on a single high-grade coin from a year as recent as 1999 is almost unheard of, making it unique not just in the modern era, but in the entire history of U.S. coinage. And the visual impact of the coin cannot be overstated, as even without magnification the distortions, rotations, and doubling leap out at the viewer, creating a piece that is as much a work of art as it is a manufacturing anomaly. And for collectors with the means, owning such a piece is about more than just financial investment. It is about holding in their hands a tangible piece of minting history, a perfect storm of errors that by all rights should not exist, yet does. And perhaps most enticing is the notion that coins like this challenge our assumptions about value. Because here is an object with a face value of 1 cent that, through a series of improbable mistakes and fortunate preservation, became worth more than luxury homes, rare cars, or even some fine art masterpieces. And stories like this are what keep the world of coin collecting vibrant and exciting, because they remind us that the next great discovery could be sitting unnoticed in a change jar, waiting for someone with a curious eye to spot it. And in the case of the 1999 $15 million penny, the journey from mint mishap to auction superstar is a testament to the enduring allure of numismatic treasure hunting and the infinite potential for history and fortune to be hiding in plain sight. Last 2005 D1 cent USA coin. The smallest details can transform a piece of ordinary pocket change into an object worth more than most luxury homes. And today we're talking about one of the most astonishing modern-era finds in U.S. numismatic history, the 2005 D1 cent coin, a Lincoln Memorial cent struck at the Denver Mint, which despite being only 20 years old and originally worth just a single penny, has captured headlines, stunned experts, and ignited collector passions by commanding a jaw-dropping price of $10 million. And the reason behind this astronomical value is not just one single factor, but a convergence of multiple minting errors, extreme rarity, near-perfect condition, and the story behind its survival, a story that weaves together the unpredictable quirks of the minting process, the human eye for detail, and the deep pockets of elite collectors willing to pay for a piece of numismatic perfection wrapped in imperfection. So let's go back to 2005, a year when the United States Mint was still producing the familiar Lincoln Memorial reverse design that had been used since 1959. With Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse and the iconic depiction of the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, a design by Frank Gasparo that millions of Americans knew well. And at the Denver Mint in that year, production was in full swing with billions of pennies being struck for circulation, most in standard copper-plated zinc composition, each weighing about 2.5 grams, and the vast majority of these coins left the mint without incident, destined for everyday transactions and to be worn down in pockets and cash registers. But in a high-speed, high-volume industrial operation, mistakes are inevitable, and every now and then, those mistakes create a coin that is unlike any other. And this particular 2005 D cent is a once-in-a-lifetime example, because examination revealed an almost unbelievable combination of errors, starting with a major double die on the obverse, where Lincoln's date, the word liberty, and even parts of his profile show clear doubling under magnification, the kind of crisp, unmistakable doubling that collectors covet, which occurs during the die-making process when the hub and the die are misaligned during multiple impressions, producing a doubled image on every coin struck from that die. But this was only the beginning of its peculiarities, because the coin was also struck on an experimental planchet not intended for circulation, believed to be a leftover test piece from a special strike program. An analysis revealed that its copper plating was significantly thicker than normal, with subtle color variations that give it a rich, almost satin-like luster different from the typical bright red or red-brown finish of standard 2005 cents. And more intriguingly, the coin's weight is slightly off from the standard 2.5 grams, indicating that the planchet itself was outside normal mint tolerance, a red flag that immediately sets off excitement among error specialists. And when you add to this that the mint mark D itself shows signs of being repunched, a phenomenon that is incredibly rare in post-1990 coins due to the way mint marks are applied today, you start to see why this particular piece is such an anomaly, because modern minting practices are far more automated and precise than those of the mid-20th century, making multiple errors on a single coin exponentially less likely. And yet here we have a modern coin with a double die obverse, wrong planchet characteristics, repunched mint mark traces, and to top it all off, it is in absolutely pristine condition, graded by a top-tier grading service at the highest possible mint state designation, with surfaces so flawless that under magnification they reveal no signs of wear, contact marks, or even handling, suggesting it was pulled from production almost immediately after striking, possibly by a mint employee or a visiting dignitary who recognized something unusual and stored carefully for years until it eventually surfaced in the hands of a major dealer. And when it was first shown publicly, the coin caused an immediate stir in numismatic circles, drawing both curiosity and skepticism, because such a perfect storm of errors and condition in a modern coin is so rare that some even doubted its authenticity until extensive metallurgical testing, die match studies, and provenance documentation confirmed beyond doubt that it was genuine. And the excitement only grew as the story spread, attracting wealthy collectors eager to own a truly unique modern-era penny, and at auction the bidding was fierce, with prices climbing higher and higher until the final hammer fell at $10 million, a figure that seemed almost surreal for a coin minted so recently, but which makes perfect sense when you understand that in the world of collectibles, value is not determined by face value or even intrinsic metal content, but by rarity, demand, condition, and the story that accompanies the object. And this coin checks all those boxes in dramatic fashion, because not only is it the only known example with this exact combination of errors, but its pristine state and verified history give it an unmatched pedigree. And for those wondering how such a thing could happen in a modern mint, the most likely scenario involves multiple stages of oversight, perhaps beginning with an experimental planchet being left in the feed system from a previous special strike run, combined with a double die that escaped detection due to subtlety of production speed, and a mint mark anomaly from a tooling quirk or minor die modification, all of which culminated in this single strike that managed to avoid the normal quality control processes. And in thinking about this, you realize how slim the odds are, because billions of pennies are minted each year and almost all are uniform. So the chance of all these factors aligning in one coin is astronomical, which is why no other known 2005 D cent even comes close to matching it. And for collectors, owning such a piece is not just about having a rare object, it's about possessing a tangible moment in minting history, a fluke that will never happen again in exactly the same way, and this makes it an ultimate trophy coin for high-end numismatists, the kind of piece that would headline any collection and be displayed with pride, not just for its monetary value, but for the conversations and admiration it sparks, because to The untrained eye, it looks like any other penny, but to those who know, it's a masterpiece of accidental creation, a symbol of how imperfection can lead to perfection in the collecting world, and it serves as a reminder that even in the highly controlled, technology-driven environment of the modern U.S. Mint, the human element and the mechanical complexities still leave room for the occasional miracle. And so the $10 million 2005 D1 coin is not just a quirky footnote, but a landmark in the history of error coins, proving that extraordinary value can be hidden in the most ordinary places, and perhaps inspiring all of us to take a closer look at the change in our pockets, because the next great discovery could be out there, waiting for someone with the right knowledge and sharp enough eyes to spot it.